3 years ago, the Miami Heat made the finals and lost in 6 games to the Los Angeles Lakers. 1 year ago, they fell one game or one shot, some may say, short of the NBA Finals. This week, they lost against two of the worst teams in the NBA, the Pistons and the Spurs, and now sit with a record of 13-15 and are the 10 seed in the Eastern Conference. This leads us to ask the question, should the Miami Heat blow it up? Before we get into this video, I want to say that 94% of the people who are watching this video are not subscribed. I don't want to force anyone's hand, but if you guys are enjoying the content, be sure to hit that sub button and comment your opinions on the videos and topics that we do. I always love to talk hoops with you guys. Now let's get into this video. Looking at this roster on paper, I think the biggest thing that separates them from your traditional championship contender is just the makeup of talent or lack thereof. And that's not to be disrespectful, but Max Strus, Caleb Martin, Duncan Robinson, Dwayne Dedmon, and Gabe Vincent are all undrafted NBA players. I'm not saying that they can't be quality pieces on a championship or a playoff team, but they play so many minutes for Miami, and compared to the other stacked rosters we see, especially in this NBA season, this could come as a red flag for some people. The Miami Heat seem to be an organization based off of culture rather than talent. Their front office and their fans, they just love having that underdog mentality that they've displayed for the last 3 years or so. And I can't say I'm not a fan. I have been a big fan of watching the Miami Heat. The bubble was one of the most cool experiences ever. I'll never forget when Bam had that crazy block on Jason Tatum to pretty much seal the deal for them to make the finals. However, this year it just feels so different. I don't know if it's the age catching or the reality catching up to them, but they have some clear-cut issues when I can't sit down and watch Miami Heat basketball a full 48-minute game. In 2020 and in 2021, like I said, the Miami Heat, they were such a fun team to watch. And that's not to say that they're completely unwatchable now, but outside of Jimmy Buckets and Bam, it seems like something's missing. Granted, they've had a lot of players in and out of the lineup. They, like a lot of teams this year, are dealing with the injury bug, but I think we can all agree it's time for some change. I'm not going to think like Charles Barkley and say that it's time to blow it up, but they do need to move on from paying Duncan Robinson $80 million to sit on the bench. It would be one thing if he was playing, but he's literally just sitting. Or they could possibly move on from paying Tyler Hero $130 million to be a sixth man or a negative starter. And I don't say negative in the sense that he's a bad guy for the locker room or on the court, but I'm saying that his production and the Miami Heat's overall production shows that it's a lot better when he's coming off the bench or just not playing at all. There's a lot of talent around the league that is going to be up for grabs come the trade deadline, and Pat Riley, he is more than capable of making the moves to switch this roster around. I just don't know if he or anyone else in that organization is really ready to quit on it. It's kind of like raising something up and then having to just kill it early, and it's sad, but it's true. I'd say the likelihood of these guys getting moved isn't very high, but I also heard that they're taking or listening to trade offers on Kyle Lowry if they can find any suitable spots. I also saw a report that Kyle Kuzma may want out of Washington, which could be interesting for Miami if they wanted to try to make a push for him and maybe put Kuz at the 4, and that way Jimmy Butler wouldn't have to play the 4 anymore, because not that I'm tired of seeing it, but I am tired of seeing it. With Kuz at the 4 and then moving Bam over to the 5, it just allows them more size and more versatility on the offensive side of the ball. This, like I said, would allow another option on offense that can create their own shot and hit and knock down open three-pointers and just provide overall offense when Jimmy's on the bench or when he's tired or when, it's just not his time. Because we see Jimmy Butler more often than not playing into the high 30s, low 40s, sometimes even high 40s minutes, and it's just not good for his body for the regular season for him to be playing that many. Other notable players, if I'm Miami, I'd try to pursue would be Bojan Bogdanovic, Cam Reddish, Evan Fournier, and possibly even John Collins. all these players are available, and I see a lot of other teams kind of throwing their reel out and trying to make offers and pushes, but I don't see Miami doing so. And with the contracts that Miami has, they would definitely be able to make pretty much any of them work. You know, with the money, that's sometimes a big problem if a young team wants to make a trade for a star player and they might not have the contracts to add up. That's not the case for Miami. They definitely have the contracts. And like I said, the Heat, they shouldn't blow this thing up. They should just retool. They can still have championship aspirations, especially under head coach Erik Spoelstra. I'm pretty eager to see how this team moves forward with all the different trade rumors that are out and about. But if they don't make any moves, I'd like to see them run a little bit more pick and roll with Jimmy and Bam, just trying to change up that offense. It seems so stagnant. I know it's a bit unorthodox seeing Jimmy listed at the 4 and Bam listed at the 5 on most nights. So this pick and roll, I don't know what kind of defenses we'd see coming out of it, but I feel like this could yield a more positive offense. And at this point, it does not hurt to try something new. Yes, I have my gripes about their offense, but on the defensive side of this ball, this team is still great. And I guess that mostly comes from Jimmy and Bam and Caleb Martin and, you know, all the other people with active hands. But it's just that the offense has been struggling tremendously. Last night against the Pacers was a perfect example. If any of you guys caught that game, they put the Pacers in an absolute box when they switched. It was like a half man, half zone, and they ended up sticking Bam on Tyrese Haliburton, showing once again how versatile of a defender Bam Adebayo really is. And him and the rest of the Pacers, they just couldn't go anywhere. But on offense, they could not capitalize on any stops. The Heat, they did not shoot well last night, and it was only until Jimmy Butler had to go on his own 8-0 run down the stretch in the last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter that they started to pull away. It was like 72-72 for like 3 minutes, and the Heat, they were getting stops, but they just could not hit shots and even open looks. I saw so many open threes not fall, and sometimes you can chalk that up to, you know, the next night we'll get them. But when you sit as the 10 seed in a remarkably competitive conference, you don't really have time to lose games against a young team like the Pacers. Granted, the Pacers have been surpassing a lot of people's expectations this year, but like I said, that cannot be the case come the team for the playoff time. Not to mention, Kyle Lowry is 36 years old and he's averaging 36 minutes a night. Good for him, but you guys have heard me rag on LeBron for having to play that many minutes to keep the Lakers afloat, and it's only fair that I do the same for Kyle. Obviously, they're not on the same tier of greatness, and year 20 LeBron is just, you know, balling out still and being great. But I don't like anyone that old playing that many minutes. Again, good for them, but how long can their bodies keep this up? I really hope he doesn't have to continue to play that many minutes, because come playoff time, I can assure you if he's playing 36 minutes a night for 82 games, we will not see much of Kyle Lowry. And if we do, we're going to see dead leg Kyle Lowry. All in all, my verdict on this topic is that I don't think they should blow it up, but I definitely don't think they should run it back like Tyler Hero said before the season started. Maybe the expectation was a little bit different before the season. They were kind of riding that high of making Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, but it's time to make some trades. I think this small sample size is enough to let us know that it won't work come playoff time, especially not with the Celtics and the Bucks performing at the level that they are to just come out tremendously strong starting this season. And even other teams, sleeper contenders like the Brooklyn Nets, they are heating up as well. They're actually won 9 of their last 10 games, including a victory against the Pacers where they sat 8 of their players, and obviously those 8 out of those 8 included Ben Simmons and Kyrie and KD and some other notable starters. The East and the league in general is just way too talented for a roster made up of undrafted players and Jimmy and Bam to win a championship. It would be awesome if they actually rocked with this roster the entire year and proved me wrong. I would love to be shut up about that, because like I said, I love that underdog mentality they carry, but this is just where I stand. But where do you guys stand, and what do you think? Is it time to blow it up for the Miami Heat? Let me know in the comments below if you made it this far and you're one of the 15% of people who watches all the way to the end of the video. You know I appreciate your constant support. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.